battle lines are now being drawn in Arizona over that state's new immigration law. It is the toughest in the nation. It requires police to question people about their immigration status. The law states where reasonable suspicion exists that a person is an alien who is unlawfully present in the United States, a reasonable attempt shall be made when practical to determine the immigration status of that person. The thousands of protesters who took to the streets of Phoenix Sunday say that amounts to racial profiling. President Obama has called the new law misguided and intrusive. The Justice Department is instructed, the Justice Department to determine if it is legal. Joining me now, civil rights activist Reverend Al Sharpton, who's among those promising mass protests in Arizona. Also, Sheriff Joe Arpaio of Maricopa County, Arizona. He's also known as America's toughest sheriff for his crackdown on illegal immigration. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Reverend Sharpton,
thank you.
There are calls to boycott Arizona, and you are a part of that. Is that the next logical step here to put pressure?
Oh, absolutely. I think that you got to deal with the fact that when you have a law that profiles people, let's face it, you can say whatever you want. When they're saying there's an enormous amount of people coming across the border from Mexico, they're really saying, therefore, we're going to stop people that look like Mexicans to check their identification, which is to profile people based on race. If you were in another part of the country and said that a number of Polish or a number of Irish people have disobeyed the law, therefore you're going to therefore stop Polish people, it would be profiling. We cannot have laws based on race.
Let me ask you though, Reverend Sharpton, some are blaming the Obama administration and saying that if we saw some leadership regarding immigration reform, states like Arizona would not be in a position to do this. We
need federal immigration reform. There's no question about it, and it didn't start under President Obama. We didn't get it under President Bush, who was a borderline governor. And we didn't get it with Senator McCann, who's the senator from Arizona. But you do not take something and make it worse. Two wrongs don't make one civil right.
Sheriff Arpaio, you've got people who compare this new law to apartheid, Nazi Germany, Jim Crow laws in the South. What do you make of that reaction?
Well, you know, Reverend Al, he came to Phoenix last year to protest against my policies enforcing the federal and some state laws. In fact, the Reverend asked me to resign. By the way, I'm still around and will continue to be around. But we've been doing this for 3 years. The Justice Department, 60 days into the Obama administration, sends civil rights people down to determine whether my people racial profile. They've been here a year and a half, Reverend, a year and a half, and nothing has been found.
Okay, Sheriff Arpaio, but you're not answering my question, which was you have many who say that they compare this to apartheid, Nazi Germany, and Jim Crow laws. I know you want to talk a lot about what you've done, but let's talk about what this comparison is for a lot of people, the comparison that they're making.
Well, I'm talking about what we have done to lay the foundation, and nothing much is going to change with the new law. Law enforcement are trained. They will enforce all the laws, including this one. It's a misdemeanor now, and I feel very comfortable that they're not going to go on street corners and round up people because they look like they're from another country.
Well, the fact of the matter is, as the sheriff said, I have been to Arizona 3 times last year. One time I met with him. I did ask his resignation because they do roundups. And how do you say that it is probable cause when you do roundups? How do you round up people and say there's probable cause because you just rounded them up? And if, in fact, the sheriff's position is that they are already doing this, then why did they need a new state law to make it stronger if he was doing such a great job as it was?
Answer that question. Why then did you need the new law if you were doing it already, as you point out?
Well, you know, that gives more authority to the local authorities to enforce the laws and keeps the politicians out of it, because if they interfere with this law, they can be sued, these government entities. So that's another part of the law that nobody talks about, the new law.
No, what it does is it strengthens the fact that you can now, by state law, if this stands, profile people, and that all a policeman has to say is that I went over there because I felt this person was suspect. And and it's based on who they are. Even many conservatives are saying this is outrageous. Do we want the borders open? No. Do we want to see crime not brought down? Of course we want to see crime brought down. But to do this in the violation of people's civil liberties and civil rights is to increase the problem.
Well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion,
yes,
Reverend. Let's see what happens.
And there are some who
Give
say that it will
chance.
end up in the opinions of our Supreme Court, where this is likely to be headed. Thank you both for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, sir.